Hi everyone and welcome to this session of Eat Pray Art. Today we're going to be drawing this butterfly and we're going to be cutting it out and making it up like a pop-up butterfly. And the verse is from Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing and perfect will. This is Romans 12:2. So this is the butterfly that I did, and this is the printout that you can get if you go on the Gumroad page, Eat Pray Art Gumroad page, and you can do this and then you can color it. I did this on a digital coloring. So we're going to be using this as a reference in watercolors. So one way to do it is just draw it straight on if you're like a really good artist. What I do, what helps me is I'll be folding this paper in half. Okay, this is what is going to help me draw this butterfly. I'm just using something to keep it folded nicely and neatly. Okay. Now when you open this, you get two halves. Now this is my other paper that I'll be working on. I'm just putting this aside. Okay, and I'll be working on this later. Alright. So when you look at a butterfly, you can again use a pencil. I'm going to be inking it. So it has a body. So this is its head and the body. So a butterfly amazingly is pretty symmetrical. So whatever you draw on the left, you also draw on the right. Okay. And then, so it's kind of like a head and a body, or like a flower vase. And you can make this thicker or thinner according to what you'd like. Right? Now, again, the top wing comes from the head to the neck. I mean, this is not the scientific thing, but the top head comes like this. So we're going to draw the wing. All right. You're going to curve it around. And you're going to come right back here. These are the 2 points. And just, you can draw it like this. Keep your hands loose so you can kind of change the direction of your butterfly. Okay. And then from here, under that comes the bottom of the wing, little curved line. Now you can make a wing like this. You can make a wing just rounded. How you make your butterfly is really up to you. Okay. Now you've drawn this. As you notice, I haven't really done anything here. Okay. I'll teach you a trick. So like I told you, it's symmetrical, right? Now what we're going to do is get a pair of scissors and cut it. And I'm folding it outwardly. Okay. So now what you've got now is the butterfly and then outwardly butterfly, and I'm going to now cut around the head, cut around the wing, and I'm cutting both sheets, both sides of the half that I've made. Okay. Now you can go a little over the shape that you made. Okay. That's the shape. I've gone around the body of it and just go around, cutting it in the rough drawing that you did. Okay. Now, don't throw this out because this will come in handy for the antenna that we'll do later. Okay, so we're going to put this aside. And ta-da! Here we have a beautiful butterfly. Okay, and this is the pencil line. Right, now we're going to be painting both ends, because what the plan is that we're going to get this paper and we're going to put this on top of this and stick only this part, and then the butterfly will pop up like this. All right, so for now we'll leave this aside. We're going to be focusing on this butterfly, but you get an idea, right? Now I'm going to be inking it. So because I'm going to be inking it, I'm going to kind of erase the strong lines that are here, because now I don't need the shape. But by doing this, because the butterfly is symmetrical, you actually got a perfect butterfly. And I'm lightly erasing this part. Okay. Alright. Now even this part I'm not erasing fully, just doing a light erasing. Okay. Now comes the, now you can either take a, now like for example this is a watercolor pencil, and I'm going to just draw the shape of the body. And as you notice that I'm using red, although the body, this part, the body of the butterfly is actually not red, but I'm doing this to kind of sketch that out. Okay, and I'm drawing lines like this to kind of retain a shape. And when I draw curved lines, it gives a little depth, as if the butterfly's body is curved. Okay, I'm just coloring this. This I generally keep as a brown, this middle part, but as you'll see later on, when you mix brown and red, it just becomes a different shade of brown, right? So now coming back to the butterfly, you can, if you'd like, to use a pencil to draw your patterns. I'm going to be a little brave and I'm going to go straight onto my dip pen. Okay, I may make a mess. If I do, I do. And I'm just kind of defining the shape. And if this will help me, I'm going to define the shape here. Kind of mark a border on this. I don't need it, but I'm just doing it for fun. All right. Now, what you do in this is really up to you. What I did in the online version was I drew some patterns. So you can also draw some patterns with this butterfly, or you can just make it more authentic, like an actual butterfly. I drew some flowers in the butterfly, so let me do that. So from this I took a leaf coming in and a leaf. Your patterns can be yours, like whatever you'd like. I'm creating this because I'd like to do that. So what patterns you create is really up to you. So that's the butterfly drawing. Now when we stick it, it'll look different. But for now, if you'd like, you can leave it like this and let it dry and then paint over it. Or like I'm about to, you can turn it around and do a similar pattern on the other side. I'm going to be doing that, but let me get a paper first. Now when it comes to the paint, you know, we can easily do like a watercolor, but you can even use color pencils, you can use crayons. I'm doing watercolors because I just want to experiment with watercolors. So I'm using a thick mop brush, it's not too thin, and I'm going to stick to light colors. Hopefully my paint has dried, so I'm going to stick to like a yellow. And I'm going to do the whole butterfly in a light yellow first, and then of course later on I'll layer the colors. Because I use waterproof ink, the ink is not smudging as I'm painting over it. Okay, so I'm doing a very light layer of yellow. I like this green residue, so I'm just going to add a little green here into this. Now I think I'm ready to get the brown in. Because I use watercolor pencil, it's smudging, but it's also creating a nice little bit of line work. Okay. I'm drawing a line here to create like a shadow of the leaf. I obviously want it more dark, so I'm just going to layer more paint. Maybe mix a little bit of red. And on the side, paint more of it to again create some shadow. So let's say the light is coming, this time the light is coming from here. So I'm creating a shadow. Okay, so there's a little bit of highlight here. And given that I'm going to create a shadow, let me create shadows. Okay. And I'm going to create a border around, just with my paintbrush, and create a border around this. I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to kind of just do like a little line to create a small pattern. And because I'm using a mop brush, it's looking like petals. Okay. Now I may want to add a little blue or purple. Let's see if I can add blue. See how it looks. Get an area here which we can do the same. Okay, I'm going to draw some patterns. just building over the colors to create a variation. Okay, now you can let this dry and then we'll do the one behind. First let this dry. So now while you're waiting for it to dry, you can, if you'd like, pencil in some parts. Like, for example, I'm taking a darker green and I'm creating some line work over the if I want a pink butterfly, then I paint pink and then I build on the, but in this one what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave some white. take the brush and I'm going to layer the pink and add tones. So for example, I'm going to add a little darker shade of pink here. Darker shade of pink. I'm just building on the colors. Alright, now again it's going to be a brown. This time let's create a dark. I'm using, apart from this body, I've only used one color. The same color, I'm just building on it. Using the same color, just adding patterns and layers. color in different layers and strengths. Alright, so that is the pink, just focusing on the pink one. Right, now, so what you've got now is two butterflies. One is a yellowish, bluish, greenish, and one is a pink. Okay, now what I'm going to be, you also got this. What I'm going to also be doing is, because this, I feel like this has become a little muddy, I'm going to get acrylic gold. I'm going to pour a little bit on here. I think that's a little too much. Okay, so that's differentiating. Now if you're feeling ambitious, like I am feeling, then get a thin brush and line. Only if you're feeling like since I poured too much paint. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it because I poured out too much. Wherever it's too dark, I'm just putting the gold to contrast it. Alright, before I go a little too crazy, I'm going to stop, but I'm going to also tell you to paint. So remember that piece of paper that we were talking about? It's time for you to cut a small piece from this, okay? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. These are going to be the antennas. And, okay, before cutting, what I would suggest is paint it, okay? Paint both sides. Because I've got too much gold, I'm going to paint it gold for fun. Paint both sides. I'm doing a rough paint. Okay. This is one done. One more to go. If you don't have gold paint, please don't worry. You can paint it with any color that you have. My contrast went, I made a mistake with my contrast, so I felt I needed to fill this with gold. But yeah, so this is 2 sides of gold, and once it dries, I'll tell you what we're going to do with it. I'm going to put it to dry right now. Now is a good time to go and wash your brushes, because acrylic brushes, while this is all drying, acrylic brushes become dry and then your brushes go. So I'm going to use, the brush that I used was this and this. These are my 2 acrylic brushes, which I'm going to use to wash. Once this is dry, I'll see if I want to make any changes on this one. I think this is nice. So I'm going to leave this like this and just let it dry, and I'm going to wash my brushes right now, because brush hygiene is very important. While this is drying, I would advise you to keep this in the side to dry, so you can focus on what is going to be behind it. So this is a plain paper which now I'm going to paint, and this is going to dry right now. So I'm putting this aside. Okay. Now, given that I have a lot of gold, I'm going to be using this to paint a little bit of gold. If you don't have this, you can use a thick brush like this, or any of your thickest brushes to do it. I'm doing it because it's going to be easy, and what I'm going to just do is I'm going to paint a beautiful background. This too can be folded in half if you'd like to make it a card. A special shout out to Shanti, who's been making these beautiful handmade cards. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So you can fold this and fold this in half if you'd like, to make the final version into a card. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use the biggest brush I have to paint inside this. Okay, so this looks really beautiful. You can paint in whatever direction you want, or you can paint in both. This is quite beautiful. This is what we'll be writing it on. What I love about traditional paint is the texture you get so automatically, which you don't get in digital art. So what I'm doing is I'm not painting, I'm leaving a little bit of border. I do not know why, but I feel like it looks nice. And once you cut your butterfly, this will come on top of this, and then we'll write the verse on top and below. And then eventually you can use this as a card, you can use this as a poster, you can use this as whatever. Yippee, I've used all the gold paint. That's fantastic. Okay, and I'm going to let this dry as well. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this one. So this is dried, and so has this. Okay, so the plan is, if you fold this, it's going to kind of pop up, right? To get the antennas, what we're going to do is cut. Remember we had painted this, no? So now, this is something that my mom had taught me, but basically you get your scissors and you curl it like this. Okay, get the scissors gently, right? So that's, so this will come here under this, and this will come here under this. Okay, now obviously this is a little too long, so why don't we chop it? I'm chopping it with an angle, so alright, so now you can use a glue like this, you can use tape, you can use double-sided tape. I'm going to use this thing which is like a balloon tape. Okay, I'm going to see how that works on this. So at the point that you folded the, see now this is also nice, but I like the other one because it's kind of fancy in gold. But this way, even if a person folds it, they can see what you've done. Okay, so now we're going to put this below, and I'm going to take this double-sided tape and I'm going to place this on the butterfly, the bottom of the butterfly. Okay, and then carefully place this here, and then since you have that little gap, I'm going to cut a little more here. Okay. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to take this, put this here, and I'm going to join these two together, and I'm going to tuck them into the head and press it down. Okay. Now if you have a card, you'll have to kind of, oh, this is nice. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to use the help of this, but press this down and Move that up. Press this down where the body is, right? And move that up. So there you go. There's your little butterfly. This is also colored, so you don't need to worry. And then you get a pen and then you write the verse. Now you can write it on the butterfly if you'd like. You can write it here. I'm going to now write the verse. That is your butterfly, and if you wanna close it and make it into a card, you can paint something here. If not, you could just have this out for you. So here we have it. Thank you for joining. And of course, if you want to make some changes, like for example, if you like breaking this gold a little bit with some patterns, so you can do that. Like, I don't know if that'll work, but just to break it up a little bit. Okay, so thank you for joining us in this wonderful session. I think the going a little too gold helped this lovely butterfly, but if you don't have gold, don't worry. Even in this mode, this butterfly looks really good. So whatever colors you'd like to choose, or whatever colors you have, but essentially it is make the butterfly, cut it out, add the antennas later, stick it on a card, like a hard paper. Both are done on the same paper. And then after you stick it, you can use double-sided tape. I used a balloon tape, which is like this, and but you can use any glue. You can even use a glue like this to stick, and then wait for it to dry, and then that's it. Voila! Thanks so much for joining us. Again, feel free if you'd like to color your page and make it something like this, or you can make it something like this. The choice is yours. You can head over to Gumroad to download the PDF, or you can just follow these steps and make a lovely butterfly like this. Alright, and again the verses: do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing and perfect will. Romans 12 verse 2. The reason we chose a butterfly is because a butterfly transforms right before our eyes sometimes. So we are going to be like the butterfly. Okay, thanks again, and we'll join you for another session next week. Till then, have a wonderful week.